moments I've had since I demonstrated Jim Miller's version of STEP. I don't think anyone remembers the content of the presentation. They just remember me going, doing my white boy dance. This is European rhythm. Okay. Okay, I'm going to start with the same question that I started with yesterday. Who is here who works within a club where it's just a one-club business? Okay. Did you sit over there yesterday? Were you sitting there yesterday?
Over there.
Oh, okay. Okay. Who here works in a business that has between 2 and 5 clubs in their business? Okay. And you sat down there yesterday, didn't you? You sat over here. Yeah. Yeah. Right. Okay. I'm just getting to recognise some faces. Who here works in a business that's got more than 5 clubs? Yeah. Okay. All right, the content of my session today, this is a completely new presentation. This is my first time delivering this session anywhere in the world. I do plan to use it elsewhere, but when I was invited to come here and speak, I was asked to first have a look at what's going on in the fitness market here in Brazil at the moment. And then I was asked, could I put together a presentation that would be very relevant to your market now in terms of where you are economically and what's going on with the expansion of the business, the decline, possible decline of number of members and so on. So yesterday's presentation was much more data, numbers, charts and facts. Today is about strategy. If you want the slides, you can have the slides. All right, you just need to email me. My email is really simple. It's paul@retentionguru.co.uk. And there were 15 people who emailed me yesterday requesting the video of yesterday's session. So they will get that. And if you email me, I will send you the slides to this presentation. One of the biggest challenges that operators have is differentiating their business from their competitors. And what I want to do is I want to show you when I work with my own clients, the process that I go through in order to make them differentiate their businesses. Because differentiated businesses are much more successful than commoditized businesses. A commoditized business is just based on price, where everybody's offering the same thing. In Paul Golderberg's book, The Sameness of Things, he wrote, quality is not enough. While everything is better, it's also increasingly the same. Who here has a flat screen TV? Could you tell who made that flat screen TV if you took the label off? They all look the same. In fact, there are cars that are made using the same products. In Europe, we had the Seat Alhambra, which was a people carrier. We also had the Volkswagen Chiron. It was the same vehicle, made in the same factory, by the same people, and was just badged with the different companies on them. Which one do you think was more expensive? The Seat or the Volkswagen? Put your hand up if you think it's the Seat was more expensive. Put your hand up if you thought the Volkswagen was more expensive. Because Volkswagen have differentiated their business in terms of quality. People think about Volkswagen products as having a certain level of quality. Unfortunately, this is also true about a lot of health clubs. I was fortunate this morning to travel around Sao Paulo, to do a little bit of sightseeing while I'm here. And as we travelled, we drove past many gyms. And as I looked in through the windows, most of the time, apart from the sign outside, they all look the same. And you could probably rebrand that business within 24 hours. Take a couple of signs down, change some literature in the business, put some new things in, and away it goes as a new business. Because it doesn't differentiate itself based on the design, the style, the service delivery. It's all same, same, same. Now, I don't know if it's same if I actually go in, because I didn't get a chance to go in. But certainly from the outside, we drove along one road on the way up past towards the airport, and I saw a gym, and then I saw another gym, and I saw another gym, and they all look the same apart from the sign outside. How does a potential customer make the decision to walk into your gym compared to someone else's gym if it just looks the same? If you work in real estate or you're buying real estate, it's all about location, location, location. If you have a business, it's all about differentiate, differentiate, differentiate. Make my business look different than other people's business. Unless your business is to copy someone else. And there are businesses that go out of their way to copy other businesses and steal some of that market share. Okay. There's a book by Seth Godin. He was the marketing guru for Google. And he talks about purple cows. He said, if you're driving down the highway and you see a field full of cows and all the cows are black and white, we have black and white cows. I don't know what colour cows you have, we have black and white cows. They look like that. When you see lots of cows, you pay no attention. But what would you do if you saw one purple cow amongst all the black and white cows? You'd go, there's a purple cow. It becomes remarkable, worth remarking on. Now, you can take this principle all the way down to your fitness staff. If you ever survey your members about the quality of your service, do they mention any particular staff? Or do any staff stand out? Are they worth remarking on? Now, I've done lots of work on the value of interacting between members and staff. And I hear different presenters in this field talk about staff should learn every member's name. Now, I don't think that's feasible. I don't think you can learn everybody's name in your club once you get beyond 250 members. It's not realistic. What I want to always know is, can the members name the staff? Can the member name the staff? Because you know you have nicknames for the members, like the grumpy one or the smelly one. Yeah, they have names for you too. And it's interesting when you survey the members whether they can name staff, because the staff who are really good, they can tell you their name. And the staff who are really bad, they can tell you their name. Because they're remarkable, but for different reasons. Is your business remarkable? Does it stand out in a field of black and white cows? Or does it just look like what everybody else is delivering? If you're trying to build loyalty, one of the ways the airlines tried to do it was to give away air miles. And they tried to construct programs that meant you accumulated air miles every time you took a flight with them. The problem with air miles, if any of you travel a lot by air, it's very easy to collect them, but very difficult to spend them. The business is actually making it difficult to redeem your rewards. And what you need to be able to do is make sure that your members can redeem the value they put into your business. There are things that you do for your members that other clubs don't do. I wouldn't suggest you give them air miles, but you might be looking that for someone who comes 12 times in the first month, that you give them a small gift, something relative to exercise. You don't tell them you're going to give it to them, but you give it to them anyway. It could be a water bottle, a sweat towel, but it needs to be a surprise gift, not a, if you come 12 times, we'll give you this. That surprise gift has more value than a marketed gift. Because what happens then is the member walks in and goes, where's my water bottle, where's my sweat towel? Whereas if they walk in and you've out of stock, it's not a big problem because they didn't know they weren't going to get it anyway. So you give it to them as a surprise, as a gift. Differentiation allows you to take away customers from your competitors. I know we had someone yesterday who has, I think, a CrossFit. Has anyone here got a CrossFit box? It's all right if you have. I'm okay with that. That's okay. Cool. Are you scared he's going to run away? He's got her arm on him, he's not moving. Stay here. But what CrossFit has been able to do is been able to build its business very quickly by taking customers from you. It's very clearly differentiated itself as a business to say, these are the types of people we want as members. And there have been members in your club that go, that's more attractive than what I've currently got. I'm sorry this looks low on this slide. I didn't know what it would look like in this room, so I will read it out. More than 40% of your customers who claim to be satisfied with your business moved their business elsewhere without looking back. So if you ask them, are you satisfied with what we deliver, and they say yes, 40% of them will still leave you without a question. They'll just go somewhere else. I think Molly mentioned it yesterday in her session about Net Promoter Score. If you're not familiar with the Net Promoter Score, then you need to be. Because these people who are going to move, these are what are called the 7s and 8s. They're only getting exactly what they were expecting, no more, no less. The 0 to 6, they're getting less than they want. And the 9s and 10s are your promoters and your advocates. You want to create as many promoters and advocates as possible. Now, some businesses, and this was a report done by Porter out of Harvard's Business School, he's a very famous business professor, says, is your advantage based on your operational effectiveness, or do you actually have a competitive advantage? Low-cost operators have to have an operational effectiveness to run their business at low cost. In Europe, you have to be a very savvy operator to run a low-cost business because there are so many low-cost businesses. Yeah? In the UK, we now have 8% of our clubs are low-cost businesses, but 25% of all members are in the low-cost business. So 8% of the clubs own 25% of all the members in the UK. I'm going to come back to them in a little while. We want to look at this competitive advantage. Now, this slide was given to me by a friend of mine, Aaron Williams, who works for Life Fitness. He travels the world looking at global trends and takes them back to the company to explain how they should develop their products and move forward. And what you see is at one end is the very expensive health clubs, the super premium, the exclusive. At the other end, what you see is the low cost and sometimes free. When we start moving into the outdoor exercise or app-based exercise that doesn't require a building, and we're seeing this split of the industry. Now, what happened in the US and in Europe was that the industry began with mid to high priced clubs. Then it spread into the middle market. The market grew, and only in the last few years the low cost market has come in and expanded it even further. So we've had an evolution of clubs over a period of time. What happens in emerging markets, and the Brazilian market was described to me as an emerging market, is that you have all of this going on at the same time. There's no premium first, then middle market, and then sort of the trickle down effect, as it would be called, then the budget. It's all happening at the same time. And that can be really confusing for operators because they don't know where to go. Should they go low cost? Should they be in the middle market? Should they be premium? You need to be able to clearly identify where you sit on that line as the market spreads. How many of you are familiar with Equinox? Okay, US-based health club chain. This is how they differentiate their marketing. Okay, so maybe a little bit difficult to see, but this says Flex Appeal by Equinox. The next one, Action by Equinox. And then the final one, Stairmaster by Equinox. If you live in the United States and you live in a large city area where Equinox have clubs, you'll be really familiar with this style of marketing. This is marketing on the idea of, well, tell me if you agree with me, luxury. Because the pictures are shot almost in the same way as you would see in Vogue or Tatler or some expensive glossy magazine. You know, the clothing is all that. You know, if I said these were shots from Vogue, you'd go, yeah, if I covered the Equinox. So they're marketing to a type of person that reads Vogue, who recognises that and goes, that's like me. They're having a little bit of humour in it by going, you join Equinox? These are the sort, oh, wrong one. No. You get legs like this. I'd love legs like that. I won't tell you where I'd like legs like that, but I would like legs like that. But they're making their stand. They're saying, this is us. We're a high-end premium club. We use marketing images that people who have higher incomes recognise, in a style that people recognise. And when they're charging $100, $150 a month for membership, the type of people who join Equinox can easily afford that. That's probably a really decent lunch somewhere in New York. Have any of you become familiar with Kusama? Or any of you seen Kusama? Okay, Kusama is a micro gym. It's a bit bigger than this stage. It's about half the size of this room. Has almost nothing in it. But their product is, let me get the marker, is an 8-week group exercise program. You all join week 1, you all do 8 weeks together, then you finish. It's predominantly a body weight type exercise program. It is $299 to $349 for 8 weeks. There's a beginning and end. It's sold that as a package. And they've been selling lots of them for a long time. Now, if you go to a IHRSA site, everything in the experience is high quality because it needs to be because of the cost. But they're saying we're not selling a health club membership for 6 months, 8 months, 12 months, a year, 2 years. We're selling you this package. This package style is very common now in Europe and North America for personal trainers, calling it a body transformational package. Someone takes the package, they get nutritional advice, they get an exercise program, they train with a trainer 3 times a week, and they do it for 10 weeks, and they go from this to really, as best they can in 8 weeks. What's interesting is that consumers like this idea of there's a start and an end, rather than there's a start and there's an end somewhere in the future. So this is just another way people have differentiated themselves. I differentiate my business by I just focus on retention. I have 12 clients per year. If you want to work with me, it's a $50,000 minimum start for 6 months. And the reason I have that as a starting point is that it means only people who are serious about improving their retention come and talk to me about working with their clubs. I do have other products. So I run a 3-day workshop where I have 10 clubs, small. Who's single site club here? Potential customers. I have 10 single site operators in one room for 3 days. And you bring your staff. You bring 5 staff, 5 or 6 staff. And over 3 days, we work through that. Now, other people do it differently. I know Paul Brown's got his face-to-face retention booth here. Paul does it very differently to me. Yeah? So I distinguish my business from Paul's in the way that I work. But people are really clear. You can see me stand on stage for about an hour. You can attend a 3-day program if you're a small independent operator. Or if you're a bigger business and you want to work with me, you have to wait to be one of 12. And that's how I work. People are really clear, they understand. Everything can be differentiated. There is a very good book called Love Brands. Now, I reckon that these men, and I do hope they're men, all own Harley Davidsons. Now, they love the Harley Davidson brand so much they've had it tattooed on their arm. Do you think any of these men will ever buy a Japanese motorbike? They'd probably rather buy a car than a Japanese motorbike because the brand is so strong. And Harley Davidson worked very hard to create their branding because Harley Davidson tries to create this image of hard, male, rebellious. Yet 90% of the people who buy Harley Davidson in North America are accountants, lawyers, doctors, and dentists. There's not a lot rugged about those professions. So the image of Harley Davidson started to dip in terms of people thinking, oh, they don't really stand for anything masculine anymore. So what did Harley Davidson do? They sponsored the UFC. So right in the middle of the octagon, there's the Harley Davidson branding with someone's blood all over it. Because the doctors, lawyers, accountants and dentists are buying the sort of the coat of hard when they ride their bikes. When I'm on my Harley Davidson, I'm manly. And that's how they sell them. The challenge for you, as I see it in the Brazilian market, is that very quickly you could end up moving towards commoditization. Everything's the same and it's all based on price. Oh, I don't know what happened there. The challenge with price is you undermine your chance of being unique. If your marketing is always, we're the cheapest, we're the cheapest, we're the cheapest, well, you are until someone else comes in cheaper. Yeah? Now, you can start with price, but you can't finish with price. Now, across the top here are the 3 largest budget gyms in the UK where I live. I work with 2 of those companies. So there's another 3 down the bottom. All right, and I work with 2 of those companies. They commonly say to me, we can't compete on price anymore. When it was just the gym group and Pure Gym, they would open a club, it would be low cost, they would steal members from every other health club in the region because they were the lowest. Then someone else would open another low cost in close location, so now there are 2, and then there were 3. And in some places now we have 9 low cost operators operating in one city. Not a very big, of 500,000 people. 9, and they can't compete. Because originally it was, we're the lowest on price. And they're all now pretty much the same in terms of price. So this is a low-cost operator. This is what a low-cost operator in the UK looks like. It's a big empty space with lots of equipment. And they generally charged about $17.99 per month. Yeah? This is one of the competitors at $17.99 per month. This is also low cost. Because what this operator, and this is a client of mine, Lifestyle Fitness, they said, if we charge $17.99 and deliver that, anybody could deliver that. But we do $17.99 and it looks like this. And this. So it really makes them, at the low end of the market, stand out from their competitors. The challenge for some of the middle market is that's a better gym than some of the middle operators are offering. You can start with price, but without a structural advantage, you can't finish with price. You have to go up in price. And we've seen that in the UK market. We have, and across the world, there is a health club chain, Fitness First. When they first started in the UK, they were called, there was Fitness First, Affordable Fitness. And they were the lowest price health club operator around. After the budget chains came in, they went bust. Because they couldn't compete, because they were twice as much money as the low-cost operators for pretty much the same product. A new investor came in, and the new investor said, let's sell lots of the clubs that can't make a lot of money, and they've now gone upmarket. And now they're trying to play in the premium market. So they have less clubs, less members, but are actually making more money. And their original plan was to have the most, well, at one point they had the most health clubs in the world. That they certainly don't now, but they've decided they want to have profitable clubs, not lots of clubs. Now you can differentiate with a higher price. Does anyone in here consider their club a premium, or do you charge a premium price for your market? So you're more expensive than your competitors? Okay, cool. Is it worth it? Of course they're going to say yes. Okay. This is a club I work with in London. It's called Kicks. Has anyone in here ever heard of Kicks? That doesn't surprise me, we're thousands of miles away. I can tell you that almost the entire UK fitness industry has not heard of Kicks. If you want to be a member of Kicks, it will cost you 60,000 Real to join, and 60,000 for your first year. It has 1,500 members. Most of them are not famous. Most of them are business people, industrialists, financiers. From 6 o'clock in the morning, the street outside is full of Mercedes S-Class with chauffeurs. While the owner is in the club working out with their personal trainer. By 8 o'clock, all of the cars have gone because the owners have gone off to work. The club is then generally quiet for 2 hours. At 10 o'clock, the wives of the people who came in the cars in the morning come in to train with their personal trainers. They spend most of the day in the club and leave at some point around about 2:30 in the afternoon. When I first asked why they come in at 10 o'clock, it was after the children had gone to school. And I said, oh, of course, they must drop the children off to school and then come to the club. I was told no. The nanny drops the children off to the school. It takes them that long to put their makeup on before they come to the club. The mistresses come in the evening. It is a very high quality club. These pictures are about 5 years old. It's not a very big club, but they do about 500 personal training sessions each week. And it would be 400 Real? Yeah. The first day I went into this club, Prince Harry was running on a treadmill. Will Smith was doing a boxing session with one of the professional boxing coaches. and several very famous models were doing yoga in the yoga studio. But the vast majority of members are actually, you would never, I don't know who they are, they're just wealthy business people. This club was built for wealthy business people. It wasn't built to attract celebrities. While it does attract some celebrities, it was actually financed by a venture capitalist who wanted a health club for him and his friends. Think how much this club makes when there are 1,500 members paying a joining fee and then their yearly fee. It's a very, very profitable business. No one comes anywhere close to this. This is the locker rooms. What is difficult to see here, you have your cotton buds for your ears. You have razors, if you need razors. A range of men's aftershaves. Deodorant if you want it. Here we have hand towels and slippers. I don't know what's in the women's changing rooms. All I can imagine there would be more. They even have someone in the locker rooms to iron shirts, jackets and trousers while you're training. Something to be aware of. They've stayed very narrow in what they do. Lots of products, having lots of different things is rarely a strong way to differentiate your business. For savvy exercisers, those people who are regular exercisers, a really large studio timetable does not impress them. And the reason is they know the types of classes they're going to do. So if they do yoga, they'll look at your studio timetable and go, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 yoga classes a week. I only do yoga and I can't do 2 of those. So it actually doesn't always work. That's why yoga studios are really attractive to people who do yoga, because it's the only thing they do. Molly mentioned in her presentation yesterday Zappos by Tony Hsieh. This is an online shoe shop. It's a bit more than that now. But they differentiated themselves by other online businesses by offering free delivery and free return of products. Not only that, they guaranteed that if you ordered before 10 p.m, they would arrive before 9 a.m. the next day. Which means for some of the women in this room, that could mean sitting in bed, on the iPad, ordering shoes, going to sleep, getting up and putting shoes on. US mail will take 5 days. Not only did they do that, they said you can order up to 12 pairs of shoes at any time. And we will only invoice you for those shoes that you keep. You can send the others back. Not only that, they had an exceptional customer service team that all their job was, they said, make the customer happy if they phone in. Now this business grew very rapidly, mainly because Tony Hsieh recognised that there was already a $2 billion shoe business industry in the US, and there was a 40 billion industry and that you could get 2 billion of it was already being done online. And if he could make the online experience better than anybody else's online experience, people would buy from them. Steps to differentiation. Differentiation takes place in the mind. In the mind of your customers. They think this is different from this. Who here always wears Nike? Who here always wears Adidas? In your mind, there's a difference that counts. Whether it's a real difference or not. But once we've decided there is a difference, we reinforce that thinking to convince ourselves we've made the right decision. So all of these decisions, these differentiators, are about getting inside people's heads. If you can see logic in an argument, you have a winner. The budget gyms made a lot of sense in Europe when we had the massive global decrease or the global downturn. You've been a member of a gym, your income's decreasing, you're not sure about your job, we have an offer that is month by month by month, no contract, and it's cheap. And because people weren't sure about their job future, they switched to the gym. Now, something that Rob mentioned as we were having dinner the other night, because he watched my presentation yesterday and some of the other stuff we've been doing, was that the gym is one of those things, once you've paid for it, you can actually come and use it as many times as you like that month without it really costing you any more. And what we saw were people, in the economic downturn, people used their gyms more. They got more from their gyms and did more in their gyms. You have to find this differentiating idea. Way back when there was the Sony Walkman, and some of you are not old enough to remember that. And that was like, you could have a whole 90 minutes of music in your pocket, and you could go, I'm not going to do it, you could go running with your cassette, and sometimes you had other cassettes in other pockets. Then the iPod comes out, and what was Apple's first claim about the iPod? 1,000 songs in your pocket. And guess what? No tape to get wound up and caught in the mechanism. No jumping compared to the CD. Well, you have to have credentials. If you want to build a logical argument, you have to have the credentials. If I think about Gustavo's business, he has the credentials to run a swimming academy. Because people go, oh yeah, he's a swimmer. He runs a swimming academy. That makes sense to me. But he's also got those Olympic credentials and the world credentials of a top-level swimmer. If I said I run the best swimming academy, I've got to find a differentiator that isn't I'm a really famous swimmer. I have to find another angle to talk about. But it has to make sense. If you've got credentials, it has a real impact. But you have to communicate your difference. You have to shout it really loud and really frequently. How many of you have ever seen the film Dodgeball? Love Dodgeball. Love Dodgeball. Okay, in Dodgeball, this is a team of dodgeball players from Average Joe's gym. And in the big competition, they were up against the super gym team of super fit people. But the way in which they portray the super gym is much like the gyms most of us have. And they referred to them as Globo Gym. And this was always about a fight between the underdog and the big operator. Interesting, for me, what I find interesting is that CrossFit used exactly that argument to say, come to us and train with us. We're not, and they actually refer to people as Globo Gym. Do you go to Globo Gym? The big box gym with lots of everything, but lots of things you never use? Or do you come here and exercise in this way? We differentiate our business based on the way we train, the equipment in our facility. In London, I have a client called the Reebok Sports Club. It has 7,500 members. It does 3,500 member visits every day. And it will cost you about 500 rand. At the other end of the business area is a CrossFit gym. It has rubber floors, Olympic lifting bars, some plyometric boxes, and the chinning pieces, the chinning bars. It's 600 rand. It's more expensive for a space with almost nothing in it. But they have a tribe of 400. And for those 400, they're there Monday to Friday. Sometimes twice a day. Now you might decide that positioning is what's important. You might need to start thinking about, where do we fit on these lines? Are we low cost or are we premium? Are we in the middle? If we're in the middle, what makes us different from the other people that are in the middle? Why do we charge more than the low cost but less than the high cost? You need to make the message as simple as possible and then just keep saying it over and over and over again. Nike have done it with Just Do It. Just do it, just do it. They just continue to say it, continue to use it as a marketing ploy. Just do it. Don't think about it, just do it. Orange Theory Fitness. It is a fitness product based around a space, sometimes less than the size of this room. Some treadmills, some rowers, TRX, and some benches with free weights. You come in, there's a... Hey! It's fine. Just bring them up here. We'll wait for him to smash through the door. All right. But every day they post a new workout. So every day you go in, there's a new workout. It's delivered as a group session. There is a trainer that leads you through it. The next day, a different group session. So they differentiate themselves, saying, we're quite basic, we train at high intensity, and every day there's a different workout, led and you're supervised by someone watching you. So they separate themselves out from gyms that say, we don't have any staff, but we're cheap. The low-cost operators are doing it on price. The challenge they have now is they can't put the price up. They've done such a good job of telling people in the UK the low cost is under £20, they can't put their price up. Because as soon as they go to 20 or higher, people go, it's not low cost anymore. Now you're not worth the money. I just lost the attention of all the men in the room. One of the things that often happens is that when we're good at one thing, we get opportunities to do other things, or we see other things. You walk around the trade show and you go, that's interesting, that's it. And sometimes broadening what you do actually diminishes the effectiveness of your ability to deliver. You get too many different choices to choose from. Now, I work with Life Fitness in North America and Europe, working with their clients. They have over 300 different pieces of equipment to choose from. And they've just bought another equipment company. It's becoming increasingly difficult, not just for the salespeople to understand all the different equipment, but for the customers to work out which pieces of equipment to buy. So I now spend time trying to teach the salespeople how to get the customer, you, to think more narrowly about what it is you want to deliver as a business, so they can say, okay, these are the products that fit that business. It's not, look at all of this. Because if you have too many choices, you make no choice. Being first at something is a differentiating idea. How many of you refer to indoor cycling as spinning? Even though it may not be spinning that you do in your club. Because this started off as the very first Johnny G's spinning program, everybody calls this spinning. But it's not spinning in every club. Sometimes you're fortunate enough that your brand name becomes the name of the product range. So in the UK, we refer to vacuum cleaners as Hoovers. Even though Hoover make vacuum cleaners, everybody calls a vacuum cleaner a Hoover. Even if it's a Dyson or a Philips or some other make. Yeah? So being first can have a lot of credibility. People tend to stick with what they've got. People are more concerned about changing and making the wrong decision than staying where they are. Yeah? The thing about first is people who are first at something are still first. They'll always be the first. You know, IBM were the first to build big computers. You know, Microsoft were the first to build a software system that could be used by almost everybody. Although Steve Jobs argued that. It does give you a special status. If you've ever won at an event and you've come first, we put first as the high status. You might be a pioneering product. You're the first people to do it this way in the industry. You could also argue that if you're first, everything that follows is just a copycat. You can actually use it as a marketing strategy. We were the ones who did it first. Look what everybody else is trying to do to copy us. The challenge with being first at something new is it can take a long time to gain acceptance. Being first is one thing, staying first is another. Yeah? The idea has to be workable, not just wishful thinking. You have to be able to make your idea, your differentiating idea, stand out so that everybody goes, wow, that was different. The step, you ready? The step by Jim Miller that was promoted as the Reebok step was the first. Yeah? And everything else that came after was just a copy of what Jim Miller was doing. I'm not doing any steps today. There's also something called attribution ownership. Now, attribution is a particular characteristic of something that makes your thing stand out. But different people, and I'll come to the fitness industry in a second, but different attributes have different values. They're not all equal. So, in motoring, in manufacturing for cars, I know this holds true in Europe and I think it holds true in North America. I'm not so sure it holds it true here because I don't know how they market here. But BMW own driving, the ultimate driving experience. Mercedes own engineering. Volvo, safety. Ugly cars, but safe. Jaguar, styling. Toyota, reliability. Ferrari, speed. Yeah? They work really hard. All of their market, a lot of their marketing, a lot of their efforts are building to continue that. So if you want to say, I've got the ultimate driving machine, you're going to start looking at BMWs. And they continue to reinforce that. Okay, I would normally in this type of slide ask you a question, but it's going to be rhetorical. If I were to ask you what characteristics does Body Pump own, what might you come out with? When I asked some friends in the UK, what is it about Body Pump that differentiates it from the other products that are available in the market? When it first came out, they said it was all about structure. Guaranteed, repeatable structure. If you do Body Pump on a Monday night and Body Pump on a Wednesday night, you will do the same class. If you go and do Body Pump in another club, you will get the same class. It was a way of standardizing the delivery of group exercise content using weights. They've standardized it. They then took the same idea and rolled it into other products. So what does Zumba own? Fun? Dance? Because it certainly doesn't, for me, doesn't own structure. It was grown on the premise, actually, you don't even need to be a group exercise teacher to teach Zumba, because it's just dancing. And they've positioned themselves almost at the opposite end to Body Pump. And they were able to grow their business really rapidly because it was different. It wasn't just a copy of the Les Mills programs. How many of you have seen people attempt to copy the Les Mills programs? Or a club has its own version of Body Pump, its own version of Body Attack, its own version. But they've got, not only have they got structure, they've got first. They were the first organisation to standardise the choreography. Zumba said, let's go back to freestyle, let's make it fun. It doesn't matter if you can't do the same workout as the instructor, it's all about just getting a workout. Now, I know some of the people at Poloxing. Anyone in here from Poloxing? Just so I don't upset anyone. Okay. When I first heard of Poloxing, I thought, what a ridiculous idea. They're combining boxing with Pilates. Who on earth is going to do that? Put your hand up if you've been to a Poloxing class. We've got one. Yeah? The top 2, 3. The type of people who like really like Poloxing. In my head, it's like the most weird thing you'd do in the studio. And my understanding is this lady's downstairs. Because I saw her when I was walking around yesterday. I was going, you're in my presentation. Leadership. Sometimes leadership, being the leader in the market, is the way to differentiate yourself. For a long time, and this can vary in different markets, Life Fitness were the market leader in its cardiovascular equipment. Now, be aware of this. Lots of people want the best even if they don't need it. I'm talking now to the women in this audience. How many of you have bought shoes that cost more than they need to just for a pair of shoes? And then lied to your partner about the price? Yeah. You're familiar with Uggs, Ugg boots? Yeah? In the UK, they cost £120. Okay. I did a workshop, and one of the gentlemen on the workshop, I said, how much do Uggs cost? And he said, £60. And I said, what makes you think they cost £60? He said, my wife just bought a pair, and she told me she got them for £60. I said to him, did you realise that was each? And then he was £120 for a pair of really plain boots. Okay, let's see where we go here. Patricia, you're going to have to help me with the translation in terms of cost. Still the women in this room. Who here has paid more than 100 Real? Is it Real? Rayas, apologies. To have their hair done. Who's paid more than that? They have, they're from America. Okay, so let's start lower then. 50. And it could be a colour and a cut. Who's paid more than 50? Put your hands up. Okay. 60. Anyone paid 60 or more? It's all right if you have, you can spend that much money. Okay. Here we go. 70. 70? 70? 80. All right, who has paid over 100? Yeah, okay. There was at least one. Some of the men in here were like, when I said 20, were like, what, ever? You know, all my haircuts come to 20, ever. We buy things that are more expensive than they need to be because we want to have the best. Your club may be in a position to charge a lot more if you're able to deliver a very high quality service. Now, remember this is a real truism. In tough times, people look for places that make them feel good. Your club needs to be a place where when people are feeling down, they go, if I go there, I'll feel up. People will pay to feel good. And when it's tough for you, or the market is tough, it's still tough for everybody else as well. It's not just you. Some of you may be able to use heritage as a differentiator. That your business has been around for longer than everybody else's. Your club was established 10 years ago, 20 years ago. Because be aware of this, people want to buy what other people buy. They are like sheep in that way. They like things that are fashionable. Because if they're not fashionable, they feel insecurity. And there are very few people who are prepared to go a different way because most of us are risk averse. We want to avoid risk. Joe Cerulli's club in Gainesville, it has heritage, it's been there 25 years. It has longevity, it's impressive. People like longevity. This is why product manufacturers say, we've been around since. And they put the year of manufacture on it. Life Fitness in their hamstring thing, building champions for 25 years is an example of using heritage to differentiate the business. Are you the market specialty? Do you do something different? Concept 2, pretty much, they do make a few products, but if you mention Concept 2 to most people, they think this rower. One product, one benefit, one message. If I were to say to you Concept 2, what straight away comes to mind? That. Yeah, you don't think about their skiers or their swimming machines or some of the other things they make, you think about that. SoulCycle did exactly that in building their brand. This is what we do, this is all we do. And we are the specialists in this field. It's what I do. I work on one thing, I work on member retention. People are actually impressed if you concentrate on one thing. They perceive you as the experts, even if you're not. Heart surgeons don't do knees. Heart surgeons specialise in what they do. Be the specialist in your business. Be the preference. People don't know what they want. Steve Jobs famously said, don't ask customers what they want, they don't know. If you listen to anything or if you've read anything by Henry Ford, who started Ford, he said if you ask people people who've got a horse and cart what they want, they'll just say, I want a faster horse and cart. Yeah? And if you've just bought one, I don't want one now. Steve Jobs refused to survey the market. He said, we will build things that people will desire, not want. When you get that, you get these things down the bottom. I'm sorry they're a little bit difficult to see, but you get a mass of people all coming together to do the same thing. You get testimonials where people say, I love this product. My understanding is that when the Apple store in Sao Paulo first opened, there were queues, long queues. So you could buy a product with no discount. People just wanted to be in the store on the first day. Yeah? Have you got a product that allows you to differentiate that people would queue for? Could you plan for a product that members would queue to come and do? Because if they start queuing, what you get is what's called social proof. If other people are doing it, we must do it. In fact, most health club owners buy equipment based on what their competitor down the road has bought. If they've got piloxing, we better have piloxing. If they've got spinning, we better have spinning. Even if it's not relevant to their business model. No, I'm not doing that one. How you do things. Another way to differentiate is describe how you do things differently from others. I work on this a lot with my clients. How they do their gym inductions, how they support their members, how they induct people into the studio. My PhD was based on behaviour change psychology for gym inductions. That's about half the members that join your club. What induction program do you have for those who want to do studio work? Or is it just, it's down there? Could you be the people who go, if you want to come and do group exercise, we pick the right class for you with the right instructor at the right intensity for the goal that you want? rather than just say, we've got a timetable with 50 classes on. Try and work out what you want by reading the description. You might have what's called a magic ingredient. The way we do it is this, and no one else is doing it. It might be in the design process or the way in which you name it. So Les Mills products were all about structure. That was the magic ingredient. You could guarantee the quality of the class. But you want to dramatise this difference. You need to give it a name, a product name. Every client that I work with has to come up with a name for its induction process that's relative to its business. So it's easy to explain to its new customers. Now this is the Welsh rugby team doing what's called cryogenic training. Who knows? Well, I know cryogenic usually means frozen and cold, but they've given this training a name, cryogenic training. Now people go, I want to do cryogenic training, which is basically training in a freezer. But training in a freezer does not sound as impressive as cryogenic training. So you have to come up with product names for these things. Now the way you can do it, it could be the product plus the benefit creates a wow. If you do this, Kusama. If you do this for 8 weeks, you get this. It could be the system. Orange Theory Fitness, if you do this and this and this, each workout is different. Every workout, you get an outcome. Sometimes you might just say, we do it this way because it's the right way to do it. Everybody else just does it that way because it's the cheapest way to do it. And you need to be able to describe what it is and what the right way is compared to how everybody else is doing it. In London, we have a health club chain called the Gym Box. This is a typical aerobics class, studio class. Live DJ, dark room, disco lighting, glow sticks. There isn't anyone else doing this type of class in London. When they talk about fitness assessment, they go, we'll measure your height and then determine how much we can stretch you to increase your height. So if you join gym, it's a joke. Because these are all about humour. They do everything for humour. Yeah? It's like, come and join Gym Box and we'll make you taller. But this is how we'll do it. We have a wide selection of weights. They actually did a promotion where you could come in and lift these people. They had like a rowing machine that was attached to a rope and they sat on a platform and you could row and the person went up and down. But all they're trying to do is they differentiate their club based on fun. We don't take ourselves too seriously. I'm not sure about this one, lifting this one. Another way you can differentiate is by being the latest. If you've got your competitor is heritage, you need to be the new. So you have, how long have we had Olympic lifting bars and plates and kettlebells and medicine balls? So let's be the latest version of that. Let's make a plyo box colourful. Let's make a tyre something that people find attractive. Let's be the latest. Now Escape, for me, are the brand leaders in doing this differentiation with functional training. And almost everything else I see is a copy. Yeah? And that's not that means that's a bad thing, but they are the leaders in this differentiation by design. Sometimes it's hotness. Sometimes things are just hot. SoulCycle was hot for a while in the US. Barry's Boot Camp has been hot for a while in the US. Sometimes we can't control whether we become hot or trendy or not, but if we are, we have to take advantage of it. At the moment, Anytime franchise, they're hot because they've just been listed as the #1 franchise by the Entrepreneur magazine of the top 500 franchises to own. So guess what? They're making a play on it by putting this on everything you see. But do you make the most sales? Do you get the highest industry rating? Are you Club of the Year? Club of your city? Highest rating on TripAdvisor or some other rating site? We also use, when things are hot, we also use what's called emulation. We like to copy what other famous people are doing. Lululemon is worn by Megan Fox, Reese Witherspoon, Giselle, Eva Longoria. Any of you in here wear Lululemon? I don't know if it's available in Brazil. But it's a fashion item that when these people are wearing it to their yoga classes, everybody else wants to wear it. Because if I wear Lululemon pants, I will look like Giselle. Other ways in which you can be hot is by word of mouth, because you get what's called social proof, other people talking about you. And nowadays on things like YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, you know, your thing can go viral very quickly. So you could be not hot today and very hot tomorrow, just because of some clever video you put out about exercise. Size can kill. This is the last one. Size can kill. You can try and overgrow a business based on your positioning. Some businesses are designed to be small. Ferrari remain exclusive because they only make high-end sports cars and supercars. They don't try and make cars available to everybody. Sometimes it's the chief executive trying to grow growth. I've had the conversation in the last 2 days. How will I grow my business from 12 to more? I've decided my business is based around on 12 clients. That's all I need. When is enough enough? I have seen so many health club chains try and be the biggest in the market and then collapse because their speed of growth was so rapid they couldn't actually manage the business chain. Is it a need to grow or a desire to grow? Or is it expected to grow? Are you being expected to grow? So sometimes just having 50 clubs is exactly what your business needs to be the most efficient, profitable, and stand out. And having 70 clubs might destroy that. So sometimes you have to think, what is it we're trying to achieve? How much? How big? Is it global domination, or we want to be the #1 club in our facility, in our environment? I'm not sure all of these products are of equal quality. And, you know, I like the Les Mills products, but I think that there's too many of these now. You know, there's probably 3 too many. I'm not saying which 3 I think they are, but I think there's 3 too many. But you need to give people a reason to buy your product. You can't just expect them to buy because you're open. If you don't give people a reason to buy your product, your competition will. If you would like the small video of this session, then email me there. If you would like the slides, email me there. If you want to listen to what I've got to say, it's Twitter, Facebook and LinkedIn. I thank you for your time, particularly those of you who've stayed till the end.
Senhoras e senhores, Mr. Paul Bedford.